Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Ancient Apocalypse, and this is a series from Netflix, and I'm avoiding calling it a docu-series because I don't think this is really a bunch of information that's actually documented fact information, but here we go, let's talk about it. So, journalist Graham Hancock, who famously got a lot of attention from Joe Rogan, who oddly enough pops up a lot in this series, is trying to challenge archaeologists and historians on ancient civilizations, and was basically his thesis is like, was there this big, large, ultimate grand civilization that helped really shape so much of the modern world, and was there a great catastrophe that took them out in a very specific point in time that kind of conflicts specifically with what archaeologists and historians have found to be some of those pieces, like some of those timelines in terms of when things were created, when the earth was shaped, and trying not to jump right into, but like this documentary series feels like a bunch of BS. And sure, it's a fun, like obnoxiously melodramatic, like bum 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 kind of series that's just like, but what if this was true? And the issue is, he doesn't really have evidence. But that's his whole point. He doesn't need evidence because he's not an archaeologist. And the fact that Joe Rogan keeps popping up in this and keeps pushing this guy's narrative, it's continuing the... Joe Rogan doesn't push people who have actual educations and things or backgrounds. It's conspiracy theorists and people who think something is true, and that's enough because they're challenging the establishment, despite the fact that, from what I understand, looking into archaeologists, like, they have a lot of evidence that disprove almost every single one of his theories, and he doesn't really give evidence. He's just like, this is what it is. And this series gets so obnoxiously hard to watch because every 5 seconds, like, but that's not what they want you to hear. And he is such a baby. Like, this guy is obnoxiously annoying, trying to present his fact of what's happening. And he puts more merit into believing in giants and aliens and, like, all-knowing, basically, like, white savior figures that shaped all of civilizations and made things for all of, the indigenous people of these different areas because this grand person was so much more knowledgeable. All that makes more sense than what's actually being presented to people based off of archaeological facts. And I love at one point where it's just like, Joe Rogan asked him at the end of this series, why don't archaeologists support your theories? And he's like, oh, well, because it conflicts with their terms of truth and what they believe in. But the fact is, they have evidence that disprove everything that you say in this documentary, and there's specifically, like, the professionals that he brings on the talk. Multiple of them have come out and said that this guy edited around their words and misconstrued them, and some of them you can tell aren't really jiving with this man as you're watching this documentary series, and this is just... Basically, it's like, but what if this happened? But what if that happened? And there's no basis for any of it. And after a while, it's just kind of annoying watching this series and realizing that, like, I can make a documentary series and be like, but what if the earth was flat? What if the sky was purple? And I can just say that it's fact, and that scientists who have much more knowledge than I do just don't want to acknowledge my perspective because it doesn't fit with what their evidence says. So, and also, this is obnoxiously melodramatic. There's these big swell of, like, dark tone music when it's just like, and then what if there were giants? Bah, 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 bah. And it's just like, this documentary series feels so trashy. But, you know, I'm not going to get a series like this on Netflix because my sons don't work there. Which apparently this man's sons do. So, there's a lot going on here. If you just want to watch this for being a cheesy, obnoxious, over-the-top, like, series of what ifs, sure, watch it. But you're not going to get a whole lot of evidence or anything that says any of this is true or disprove anything that's considered facts. But it's an interesting watch, so it's right there on Netflix. So go ahead. But those are my thoughts on Ancient Apocalypse. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.